to be talking about apprenticeships. Number 1, how to go about getting one, do's and don'ts.
Our stories and funny stories that we've heard from other people's apprenticeships.
Starting it off.
First things first on the realist.
Okay, how to get an apprenticeship. Be an artist. Number 1. So many people want to be tattooers. They've never drawn a thing in their life.
Oh, that's so true.
They have no art background. They have no art experience. And they're just like, yes, like, how do I tattoo? No, wrong. You don't. That's how, is that you don't do it. So, number 1. Stop right there.
Finger paint.
Yeah.
Also, make sure you know who you're learning under. Research the shop, make sure it's not a shop of scratchers, make sure it's a respectable shop, and just use your head, you know. Go with the style that you're trying to tattoo and research it.
Yeah, definitely want to find someone that does a similar style to you so that you know that you're learning from the best person. You know, not everyone has their style kind of figured out before they start tattooing, but you know, you know how you draw, you know the things that you like,
Yeah.
You can get an idea, and then there's going to be artists, you know, that you can find in your area that do that similar
Collect from
style
them.
or something
Get
like that.
tattooed by them. That's the best way to get in with us. Like, build a bond, build a relationship, and then we'll actually hear you out. Sometimes, if you just come in, we don't know you. It's like, we're not introducing you to our family. Get out of here.
Yeah, so apprenticeships are like tattoo college, basically.
Yeah.
So it's like,
But not tattoo school, because
don't go to tattoo school. Don't do it. Don't hurt yourself. Don't hurt everyone else.
ruins the whole industry.
Like, other tattooers are not going to respect you for doing
No.
that because apprenticeships are really hard and they're a
Very.
long process, and anyone can just go pay money and have some person that probably doesn't even know anything be like,
Exactly.
this is what you do to tattoo, but they're not even tattooers and they don't even know what they're doing. They're just showing you how to physically tattoo. Like, anyone can do that.
It's commercializing the industry, and that's just
Yeah, and
horrific.
it's not fair to all the other artists that have done their
No.
time, have gotten legitimate apprenticeships, have worked their asses off, have sacrificed so much to
Yeah.
get where they are at, and then you just are like, oh, I'm just gonna pay like 40 grand and then whatever. But anyways, so if you're getting an apprenticeship, one person or a shop, your mentor, whoever, they're teaching you all their knowledge from years and years and years that has been built up. So you have to prove to them that you're worth it. You have to prove to them that you're the person that they should be giving all their knowledge to, that they've worked years worked hard for. Like,
draw every day.
Yes.
Because you're never going to have this free time again.
Yeah,
ever.
no, definitely.
So enjoy it. Draw every day that you can. Draw whatever you want, as long as it's okay with your boss. But just do it.
Yeah, like, if you're apprenticing and you're drawing all day at the shop, go home and draw all night too. Like, do it. Like, develop what you have now, because once you start tattooing, you're going to be drawing a bunch of stuff for everyone else of what they want,
Mhm.
and you're
Sounds
not going to
fun.
have as much time for yourself as an artist anymore, and that part's kind of rough. But eventually, once you become, like, well established, you'll be able to kind of start flipping back into doing your own thing again.
Oh yeah, develop your own style, but that's taught and that's learned. It takes time. Not everybody's as fortunate to know their style right off the
If
bat.
you're looking to get an apprenticeship, definitely have your portfolio ready,
Mhm.
have your art, your best pieces all together. You go into the shop that you've picked out. You want to go in there in person. You want to talk to the boss. You want to make a good first impression
Flex
on
your
them.
skills. Flex them.
Yeah, show off your work.
Shows that you could also replicate and do flash, and shows that you're well-rounded. You're not just a one-trick pony. It's good to have a good base of every different style.
Yeah, a lot of people will like seeing, like, this is where I started with this drawing, this is how I rendered it completely. Like, they want to see your thought process and how you develop your drawings or paintings or whatever it is. Like, show them that. Show them the process that you use. Show them, you know, that you can take something simple and turn it into something bigger, so that they know, like, that you keep putting work into pieces and you don't just kind of, like, do something real quick and then, like, let it go. Show that you're, like, developing your skills over time.
Yeah, definitely.
Tough.
Okay.
And then you go in there, you talk to them. If they don't give you an apprenticeship off the bat, you know, that's a totally normal thing. Don't give up. Keep trying. You know, develop your skills more. Maybe check out some other shops and talk to some other people that, you know, you also are interested in, other shops that you like.
If they give you pointers, listen to the pointers and just do it.
Yeah.
Don't take offense. Like, the best artist is one who can take a critique.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. The only way you're going to grow as an artist is if you're willing to take everyone's criticisms and just try and fix everything. People are mean, but honestly, like, you need it. You need to be hard on yourself, but also not give up. So don't ever, if it's something that you want, don't ever give it up. Keep working towards it, but constantly be your own biggest critic so that you push yourself hard, like as hard as possible.
Yeah. Yeah, that's the best way.
Our apprenticeships, Riz. How was your apprenticeship?
I started my apprenticeship when I was 18 years old. It wasn't the easiest apprenticeship. I learned under Max Ramirez, Jimmy DeLesio, and Matt Evans. And those three artists are what definitely got me through and definitely taught me the basis of tattooing. And if it wasn't for them, then I would have like quit 1,000 times. The old guy I used to work with, I don't want to like talk shit, but it was hell, you know, like it was not fun. And it wasn't the artist that I wanted to leave, it was the shop I wanted to leave. And it just ended up, the nicest thing the old owner ever did was actually fired me, so I didn't have to quit, so it worked out really well. And then I went up to Under My Skin, and I worked under Tony for a while. If it wasn't for Six putting in a good word for me, then, you know, like, I wouldn't have had a shot because I was just a very young tattoo artist. I was only like...
Young bull.
Yeah, right? A little year into it. I only had like 10 tattoos in my portfolio. So I was working as a working apprentice at Tony's shop for a while, and then he sent me to another tattoo shop. And from there, I developed a nice relationship with Aunt Gaizo and Raymundo. Both of them were really awesome, and I learned a lot from Ray. And Ray actually helped me out with finding my style. Like, he had this guy who had like a truck full of books come up, and we bought a bunch of reference books, and from there I learned about all different kinds of neo-traditional, new school, watercolor stuff. So it was really interesting, and he was like, if you want to really make a name for yourself, you have to develop your style, and I really appreciate it. I appreciate every artist I learned under, or any artist I came in contact with. Like Chris Mack, you're awesome. You taught me a lot about realism as well. I don't know, just like a big shout out to all you people, because I wouldn't have been able to learn what I know now without all of you, so thank you. Definitely. What about you?
True. Yeah, I feel like the tattoo community is such a big community where everyone can kind of help themselves out, and it shouldn't be like every artist for themselves and everyone out to get each other, because there's so many people that want tattoos. There's so many people that, you know, want to be tattooed. Like, we can't tattoo everyone, so we might as well just, you know, all be homies and help each other out as much as possible, and all be cool. I mean, obviously, like, the world doesn't always work that great, but it is a really big community, and there are a lot of really great people and great artists that will help you so much. And especially as a new artist or as an apprentice or someone trying to get an apprenticeship, you just want to be a sponge that just kind of absorbs all the information possible that anyone gives you. You know, like, whether you're you've been tattooing for 10, 20 years, or you just started yesterday, you know, you never know who you're going to learn off of. So just take everyone's constructive criticism. Just try and take any kind of knowledge that anyone gives you at any point and put it into something good that you can use for yourself, and, you know, maybe better you as an artist, or, you know, help you do something easier, things like that. My apprenticeship, so my dad was a tattooer, so I kind of grew up in the whole lifestyle. He owned a few shops, and I would go hang out at his shops after school and, like, watch everyone there tattoo and watch them work on art and draw, and I would just started going there every day and drawing until when I was maybe 11 or 12. I started tattooing fruits, and I was like obsessed with Sailor Jerry Flash. I would just tattoo sparrows every day, like nothing else. I didn't care about anything else. Just everything got a sparrow. And just my dad would just let me use his machines and mess around with them. And so I did that for a while, and then just got super into art, started liking it a lot. And then when I was in high school, I was a personal assistant for a couple different artists, like throughout high school. I went to college for art. I kept doing the personal assistant thing for like some tattooers. Worked at some art galleries, just kind of trying to soak up all the knowledge and all the different kinds of art and all the different mediums and everything that I could.
Yeah, of course.
And then I dropped out of college after like 2.5 years, and I started my tattoo apprenticeship at a shop that wasn't the greatest, and I didn't really do as much research as I should, especially like myself. Like I should have looked into it more, and I should have known better, because like I said, I had kind of been in the industry for a long time. Like I knew a lot about tattooing, I knew a lot about artists, I knew a lot about really good artists, and I had worked around a lot of good artists that my dad worked with, or around my dad, and like just really talented people. And the fact that I kind of just rushed into an apprenticeship where I like immediately kind of realized that I didn't belong, because I could see that they were doing certain things wrong, or I felt like I wasn't getting the correct thing out of the apprenticeship. So it was kind of like 9 months of that I did my apprenticeship there was kind of time wasted, but also it makes me appreciate so much more the apprenticeship that I did, that I actually consider my legitimate apprenticeship under my boss now. So after 9 months there, everything kind of fell into place, like right time, right place sort of deal, when I was getting tattooed one day by one of my friends up here in Philly, and telling him about my story, how I wasn't happy, how I wasn't like, didn't feel comfortable at the shop I was at. I didn't think they were teaching me a lot of the right things or the right ways to do things, and how I wanted to, kind of do something else. And he suggested that I speak to Matt, who's my boss now and my mentor. And I've seen his art before, and I thought he was just like a super talented guy, and I knew that I would love to work under him and learn from him. He had a lot of knowledge to give, obviously. So I ended up speaking to him that day, and he ended up being like one of the nicest people ever.
Yes, definitely.
And from there, he just asked me if I would meet him and bring my portfolio for him to take a look at. So I did that weekend, and I think it was a Friday. And he said, okay, so can you start on Tuesday? And I was like, oh my God, yes, please. Like, it was the happiest day of my life. It like felt like literally like someone had
The
just
skies opened up.
literally, it was just like, here's the rest of your life. Here you go.
Clouds,
Like,
birds.
it felt so good. Like a weight had been lifted, because I knew it was going to be such a better opportunity. But the only problem was that, I lived in New Jersey, which was like an hour and a half away from Philly, which meant that I was going to now have to be driving an hour and a half every day to do my apprenticeship, which,
Dedication.
I did, and I would do it 100 more times. It was definitely worth it, but it was hard. Apprenticeships, everyone has their apprentice stories. Like, it's not easy. And so for like 5 or 6 months, I did that every day. Drove back and forth an hour and a half each way to my apprenticeship. Worked at the shop. Shop closed at 9. I cleaned up and everything. Cleaned the whole shop after everyone left. Left at 10 around. Got to my bartending job at like 11:30, and then would work until 4 a.m., go home, sleep for a couple hours, wake up next morning like 9 a.m., do it all again.
Crazy.
And it was really crazy for those like 5 months. And then one day I was like, this is what I'm doing. I'm really happy here. I really love all the things that I'm learning. I love all the artists that I'm working around, like everything. I'm just gonna commit to it for real. So I just took all my savings and I moved up here. And it sucked, because as an apprentice you don't make any money. So me quitting my job and like leaving, like I had no real kind of income, which is where I'm kind of fortunate for having modeling and stuff, because it was something I could do every now and then just to make like quick, easy money for like shoots and stuff. But apprenticeships aren't easy. You have to sacrifice a lot, and that's kind of where you prove, like, do you really want this?
Yeah.
Like,
I sacrificed a lot of friends, a lot of like
free time.
family events, free time, relationships, everything.
Yup.
But I'm married to the game.
Yeah, you gotta. If you want to be a tattoo artist, you honestly have to. You have to be willing to sacrifice literally anything in your life. Like,
Yeah.
are you willing to sacrifice his time with your family, with your friends? You know, are you willing to sacrifice all the money in your bank account? Like, are you really willing to do that? Because most artists during their apprenticeships or,
Break.
you know, during hard parts of tattooing, you know, if there's a slow season, you're not making any money. Like, you know, tattooing is a really hard industry. You really have to prove that you're, you know, in it, because it's not easy. There's gonna be hard times, but if you're really dedicated to it, you make it work.
Definitely. Yeah, I mean, I really can't add to that. You pretty much hit that pretty perfectly.
Hit the nail on the head.
Yeah. I was actually thinking that. You read my mind.
I was pretty lucky in my apprenticeship that my mentor is just like the nicest, most humble, like caring human being.
Lucky.
But I know that it could be awful because I've been there too.
Yep.
Definitely heard some horror stories about other people's
Yeah.
apprenticeships besides my own.
So a couple people I know. How would we put this?
This is the fun part.
Oh. You go first though.
Okay. I've had friends whose their mentors during their apprenticeship, they would make them wear like certain clothes.
Mhm.
One guy told me that he had to wear his clothes on backwards every single day of his apprenticeship for like 4 years. Like people said their mentors would call them at like 3 a.m. and be like, hey, come walk my dogs. Or like something like in the middle of the ghetto. Like, yeah, come take my dogs out. Or like, come clean my house, you know? Like,
oh yeah, watch my kid.
Yeah. Stuff like that. I had one friend whose his mentor was just like awful and violent and like would throw stuff at him. If he didn't make things right, he would throw it at him.
I had this one kid, it wasn't me, I didn't make him do it, but the shop I used to work at, they made him eat a whole thing of wasabi. Like, they dropped it, picked it up, made him eat it, like,
On the
instant.
floor?
Yeah.
Oh, gross.
Yo, he eats it, and literally not even 5 minutes later, the kid just starts throwing up in the parking lot. And it was green and gross. 'cause
Welcome
of
to
wasabi.
tattooing, kid.
Oh, it's so gross.
Oh my god.
I don't know how long he threw up for. I kind of went back inside. I was like, you good? Alright.
When I was an apprentice, I had to eat a jellyfish. Like a whole jellyfish.
Wow, it's...
That was really disgusting. Apprentices here, when we had the shop dinner the other night, I made them eat the squids.
Yeah.
I was like, you're the apprentices, which means you gotta eat this weird shit that
Yeah.
we tell you to eat.
Oh, we were all hanging out with you in New Orleans, and she was the youngest, so we're like, hey, you have to take all the tequila shots now.
I took like 7 shots of tequila for every 1 shot that they took.
It was... she did it.
I did.
Yep.
Also, love you, tequila. But that wasn't the good kind of tequila. It was like
No.
the worst tequila.
Was that a really bad dry
It was
bar?
really bad. with a carpet floor.
It was so disgusting.
These are kind of like the funnier parts, but to be honest, like there's people who have had just like awful apprenticeships,
Yeah.
and I'm not gonna go too into detail about some things that I know about, but there's times where like the mentor's on drugs, or you have to deal with them like passing out at the shop.
Or the sexual harassing
selling
you.
drugs at the shop. Yeah, sexual harassment. Like that's why you really have to be careful when you pick your apprenticeship. Make sure that you kind of know the person that you're going to be apprenticing under. Make sure you're comfortable with them, that they're a decent human being, that really want the best for you, and they're not just like a shithead.
Oh my god, Tony had Brian, the apprentice at the time, Brian, dress up as Abraham Lincoln with a sign that had tattoo, and he had to stand on Route 36 and just swing this sign. He was eventually doing different dances and stuff. I was like, you know what, man, good job.
There's definitely some ridiculous things that, and it's all kind of in the name of the game of, how bad do you want this? Are you willing to make yourself look stupid? Are you willing to hurt yourself?
Yeah.
Are you willing to, you know, eat gross things and make yourself throw up? Like I've heard so many crazy apprentice stories, and you know, like I said, how bad do you want it? Well, everyone, so thank you for watching this video.
Yeah,
if you
we
liked it, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channels.
I think it's this corner or this corner. I'm just gonna point at both.
I'm just gonna point everywhere,
Yeah.
and then maybe you'll just do it. You probably know more than I do about YouTube. Yeah, thank you for watching. If you guys have any suggestions on things that you want to hear from us more,
Leave it below.
or things to go more into detail with, etc., etc.,
Yeah.
let us know. Until next time, thank you very much.
Did I do a cute face too?